Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zach Lee, and like always, we got some stuff to talk about today, but first, I do have to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Yo guys, look at the shirt that I am rocking right now. Look how dope this looks. Now, this isn't the first time that I've worn a shirt like this, did an ad for this company. I like the shirt so much, the first time they were like, why not let's send them another one. Now, you guys saw me rocking that Ben Simmons shirt, which quite honestly, probably would have been better to wear for this specific video, but I wanted to try on, the new one. But I mean, it's so clean. There's no extra logos, there's no extra branding. It's literally just the player, all right? That's all people need to know to see that, yo, that guy right there, when out in public, that guy is an actual NBA fan right there. He got Russell Westbrook on his shirt. He knows his stuff about the NBA, that's for sure. If you want people to think that about you, wear the shirt. Anyways, those links to go get your own NBA gear is down in the description box below. Anyways though, as I kind of just alluded to, maybe it would have been more appropriate for me to wear the Ben Simmons shirt in today's video. Look, like I'm sure most of you guys have as well, I have been watching a heck of a lot of basketball ever since the NBA playoffs started, especially over the weekend where it's game after game after game all day long. Yeah, watching basketball nonstop. And I just want to say that the playoffs this year have been the best playoffs that I have seen in a while, especially in the Eastern Conference. I can't remember the last time that the Eastern Conference playoffs were watchable. I mean, before this, it's just been a snooze fest with the Cavs sweep their way through, except back when they had to play the Pacers and LeBron was on the Heat. But since then, it's just been boring to watch the Eastern Conference playoffs. This year, though, each series in the East has been phenomenal, freaking phenomenal. You had the Cavs versus Pacers series, except for game one, every game could have ended with a different result had one thing happened differently. Game two, if Victor Oladipo doesn't get into early foul trouble, the Pacers might have won that game. Game three, if J.R. Smith would have passed the ball like he should have instead of putting up a prayer, maybe the Cavs win that game. Game four, if J.R. Smith doesn't hit that prayer to end the first quarter, well, who knows how differently it could have impacted that game. You take away 3 points from Cleveland, and the final seconds of that game could have been a totally different story. I mean, that series could be wild right now. The Cavs could be up 3-1. The Pacers could have swept, or it could be tied 2-2 like it is right now. And then, of course, in the Celtics versus Bucks series, first couple of games, the series was looking pretty boring because the Celtics were just demolishing the Milwaukee Bucks. It looked like the Bucks were about to get swept down 0-2 to a Celtics team that is missing so much talent. But then you see the fight back from Giannis and the Bucks and Chris Middleton. Jabari Parker is stepping off of the bench. Thon Maker has been huge in these Bucks past 2 wins, especially on the defensive end. And Giannis just got a game-winning tip in with like 5 seconds to go to even the series up. So now that series is extremely entertaining as well. And you have the Wizards versus Raptors, and it looked like the Raptors were ready to take a stranglehold on this series at 3-1 in game 4. But in the second half, you had John Wall and Bradley Beal say, you know what? Forget about that. This is our city. We run this in Washington. We're not about to lose in Washington. They're going to beat us. They're going to do it on their home turf because we're not losing here. They take over the game and win the game despite Bradley Beal fouling out. And John Wall, let me just give a shout out to this guy real quick because he has been amazing in the playoffs so far. The way that he's been playing in the playoffs kind of reminds me of how he was playing in round 1 last year against the Atlanta Hawks when he was still widely considered the best point guard in the Eastern Conference. And let me just give a quick shout out to the Raptors too. Remember, if you guys lose in the first round, it's over. I don't care if the Wizards are better than the typical AC now that they have John Wall back. If you lose in the first round, it's over. So that series is now up in the air. And then you have the Miami Heat versus the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers are the only team in the Eastern Conference to, how should I put this, that has been able to put themselves in a favorable position to advance to the next round. I think that's a good way of putting it. They're the only team in the Eastern Conference right now that isn't in a best 2 of 3 situation like every other team is. Getting to the point where they're at now, though, hasn't been easy at all for the Heat. They were in 4 highly contested games, despite the fact that Philly was able to pull away late in a couple of them to give the illusion that maybe those games are easier than they actually were. But they have a 3-1 lead over the Heat, who have been fighting them and challenging them the entire time. So now, before what I have to say next, I want to let you guys know that this is strictly my opinion based on what I have seen from watching the playoffs so far. If you don't agree with it, that's cool. I'm not saying this so everyone can agree with it. I'm saying it because it's what I see and is what I personally think. No matter how people are gonna take it or, you know, how they might feel about it. And if you get into your feelings about my opinion, that's tough. So now with the disclaimers out the way, here's what I have to say. The Philadelphia 76ers are going to make the NBA Finals this year. And that's just based off what I've seen from watching the playoffs, what I've seen from Philly, also every other team in the Eastern Conference. Just by watching them, I can tell that the Philadelphia 76ers are going to make the NBA Finals this year. Why? Because they have been the best team in the Eastern Conference playoffs so far. One of the best teams in the playoffs period so far. So now that I said it, of course, I have to explain why. And first and foremost, can I just remind you guys that Joel Embiid predicted this very early into the season. And back in December, the man was talking about the Golden State Warriors had better get ready to go into a 7-game series with the Philadelphia 76ers. This was back in December. And at the time, I thought Joel Embiid was crazy. I thought he was just being Joel Embiid. I liked that he aimed so high, but I thought he had unrealistic goals. And now, here we are. So I guess there's that. But besides the fact that Joel Embiid just might be a prophet and can see the future, the Sixers have still been playing like the best team, not playing like, they have still been the best team in the NBA since the turn of the new year. Some people thought coming into the playoffs they were overrated just because of the quality of the teams that they beat when they closed out the season on a 16-game winning streak. Some people thought that the Miami Heat would be able to expose them because of how physical and built for the playoffs a team like the Heat are. And no lie, I said it in yesterday's video, but Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and the rest of the young guys for the Sixers couldn't have possibly asked for a better first-round opponent than the Miami Heat, and that is because they have been physical with Philly. And that's despite the fact that the Sixers are the much more talented team. The Heat have been throwing everything they can at the Sixers. And no matter who the Heat were going to play in the first round, you already knew they were going to give them some serious problems. And if my favorite team was a top seed in the East, I wouldn't want them in a series up against the Heat just because I would already know that it wasn't going to be an easy series. And for the Sixers to be such a young team, it was going to be a serious test, you know, to see what they're made of, whether or not they would crack under pressure or they would rise to the occasion and find ways to come out on top. And mind you, they are doing that. They are finding ways to come out on top despite not having an 100% healthy Joel Embiid, since he has to wear the mask that is clearly affecting his vision and a shot on the court. You just look back at game 4. Start of the game, they are playing like a team that is feeling the pressure. Simmons and Embiid with like 14 turnovers. Miami builds a lead at the half. And then in the second half, what happens? Ben Simmons, the rookie Ben Simmons, in his 4th ever playoff game, calms the troops and brings them back into this game. I mean, that's something right there that you have to notice from such a young guy, to be able to keep composure when the pressure is on. A turning point in the series. If the Miami Heat tied it at 2-2, the series would have been wide open. And then later in the game, Dwayne Wade once again was transforming into Father Prime. In the final minutes, he was looking to take over, putting Philly in a situation where if they missed or if they made a mistake, Miami could have stolen the game from them. But every time Wade would make a play, what happened? The Sixers would respond, whether it be Ben Simmons finding a seam in the defense and breaking through for the dunk, or JJ Redick knocking down a big shot. They didn't crack under the pressure and they made plays. Even Dwayne Wade himself said after the game that he had nothing bad at all to say about the Sixers and the way they've been playing this series. That he's extremely impressed with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid and how they've been able to respond to the pressure.
How impressed? What can you say about their poise in their first playoff experience? And now today the other games weren't as close. Today we saw it down the stretch, how poised they were and able, just to fight back and win a game.
Yeah, they're good. They're special. They're a good group, man. They put the right team together. I've said that multiple times. Ultimately, sometimes the playoff become probably too big for certain guys, or some guys don't know how to match the intensity of the playoffs, or whatever the case may be. They play that way already. They already play to that intense level. Today they have an edge to them, and I think this series has gave everybody a little bit more edge, as well, because of the physicality of this series. So I give a lot of credit to their point guard, their leader, Ben. He does a great job of getting them settled, getting the ball to his guys, and I think keep feeding confidence to him. So, very good team, man. I can't say nothing negative about them at all. They've been great opponents.
It's as if the Sixers have been getting better with every single game that they played, and this dates back to the regular season. Don't forget, there used to be a time where we were questioning whether or not they would make the playoffs this year. They were seen as a team that would be fighting for one of the last spots in the Eastern Conference, and yet here we are. They wind up winning 50+ games, third seed in the East, and had they been playing the way they were the second half of the season all season long, they probably would have been the first seed in the Eastern Conference. Despite all that though, despite no matter what their record is, how good they're playing, there's still going to be the people who say there's no way that this Philadelphia 76ers team will be able to beat LeBron James to dethrone the king of the Eastern Conference and really of the NBA. Once again though, we gotta keep it real here. And I just want to preface this by saying, a lot of you think I'm a LeBron James hater. I'm much closer to a LeBron James fan than I am a hater, but at the same time, you have to keep it real with yourselves here. Look at the team that LeBron James is on. They are really struggling with the Indiana Pacers. This is going to be no disrespect intended to the Indiana Pacers or their fans, because they should be extremely proud of what they have accomplished this season and what they're doing in the playoffs right now. Nothing to take away from what they're doing. They've been doing a fantastic job against LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. But at the end of the day, this is the Indiana Pacers. No one is expecting much of this team in the playoffs coming into it. They're not a team that was one of the elite teams in the Eastern Conference. They weren't a team where people were expecting them to be in the conference finals or the Eastern Conference finals or have a slight chance of making the NBA finals. They are a good playoff team. That's it. That's what they are right now. And the Cleveland Cavaliers are struggling mightily hard to beat the Indiana Pacers. In the first round, LeBron James has to play 46 minutes to beat the Indiana Pacers. LeBron James has to drop 46 points to beat the Indiana Pacers. And I will say this though, the Cleveland Cavaliers have done a good job of defending Victor Oladipo. They've done a great job of sending out double teams to him as soon as he crosses the half-court line, forcing him to give up the ball and make someone else make some plays. And if he does try and attack the rim, they're sending everyone to the paint to make his shot nearly impossible. That is why since the first game, Victor Oladipo has really struggled. The Cavs have adjusted and he hasn't been able to have the freedom that he did in game one. He did create some good looks for himself yesterday, but just couldn't get the shots to fall. So I don't expect another game from him like last night where he was 5 of 25 on the field, but the Cavs strategy as a whole won't change. Send the double, clog the lane, and make someone else make plays. And that is the problem with Indiana right now. They don't have anyone else on that team that can consistently make plays. They move the ball well as a team, they play together well as a team, and that does result in them getting some open shots. But they still need someone else who can make plays and put pressure on the defense all by themselves for those times when the shots just aren't falling like they weren't yesterday. The Pacers don't have that other guy like that, but you look at the Toronto Raptors and the Washington Wizards and the Philadelphia 76ers, all of those teams do have another guy like that. So if the Cavs are able to get past Indiana, those are going to be the next teams that the Cleveland Cavaliers have to play. And that defensive scheme that they're using against the Pacers won't work against those other teams. And even though the Cavs defense on Oladipo specifically has been nice, their defense overall in this series has not been anything special. It's the same defense that we were seeing in the regular season. They struggle on the defensive end still. They're still lazy getting back in transition. Sometimes they take plays off. Sometimes guys take too much time arguing with the refs or wondering what happened on the offensive end, don't even bother getting back on the defensive end. They have all these bad habits that they built up over the regular season that are still haunting them in the NBA playoffs. And while the Indiana Pacers might not have the offensive firepower to be able to take advantage of that every single night, the other teams that the Cavs are going to have to face do have that offensive firepower to be able to take advantage of their spotty defense. So in the second round, if they make it past Toronto or Washington, whoever wins that series, assuming the Cavs are able to make it past that, they'd have to go on to face the Philadelphia 76ers. And I can't really imagine a world in which LeBron James and the supporting cast that he has on that Cleveland Cavaliers team are able to beat the Philadelphia 76ers. I just can't do it. This Sixers team makes you pay for every turnover, for every single mistake you make. They make you pay. That is another thing that Dwayne Wade had said about this team, and it is true.
We made some mistakes down the end, and And they make you pay. Every time you make a mistake, they make you pay. So whether it was getting offensive rebounds, whether it was some miscommunication, half court wise, when they was able to get Simmons for the dunk or get JJ for the shot, we got to do a better job, and we didn't. So it's the kind of team that they don't let you off the hook. You make one mistake, you take your foot off the gas for 1 second, they make you pay.
And the Cleveland Cavaliers as a team make way too many mistakes on defense and on offense with their turnovers, and if they do that against the Sixers, it's not going to work out very well for them. And on top of that, the Sixers are the more talented team. They're the deeper team. They have better chemistry and they're better coached. And I don't know who on the Cavs is even going to be able to attempt to try and stop Joel Embiid. And it's hard to send double teams at him because of outside of Ben Simmons, everyone else on the court for the Sixers are deadly knockdown shooters. And when Embiid does get doubled and Simmons on the floor, what I have noticed is that Simmons will make a cut to the basket. Embiid will pass it to him, and that'll either get Simmons an easy score, or then he will get the ball and kick it out to some of the sharpshooters on the perimeter. So just sending a double team at Embiid isn't going to be the answer. And I just don't see a situation in which the supporting cast that LeBron James has is ever able to defeat the Sixers in a 7-game series with how well Philly is playing right now. LeBron James is a freaking legend. Of course, I know that. I know what he's capable of, and I haven't really doubted him ever since he brought the Cleveland Cavaliers from down 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors. But here's the thing. LeBron James doesn't have Kyrie Irving anymore. He lost his Robin. He still doesn't have another Robin. He doesn't have another player he can turn to help him out on the offensive end consistently. All he has left is a supporting cast. And no matter how great LeBron James is by himself, single-handedly, he's not going to be able to beat the Philadelphia 76ers by himself in a 7-game series. And that is why I truly feel as if the Philadelphia 76ers are going to make the NBA Finals. And that's pretty much it for this video, guys. That is who I have making the finals, out east at least, and why. As far as how the Sixers will do in the finals, that's still up for debate. Whether it be the Golden State Warriors or the Houston Rockets, I still think whoever comes out of the West would have to be favored. But I mean, crazier things have happened. And to be honest with you guys, I do have this gut feeling that in the NBA this year, this will be one of those years that something just crazy happens and sets the NBA world on fire. Anyways, though, smack that like button. Let's aim for another 3,000 likes on this video. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more daily NBA videos. But thank you once again for watching. I'll see all of you right back here tomorrow. But until then, keep getting the buckets, Team ICC, and I'm out of here. Peace!